Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden, and I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. Today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Ryll from CZT Esther Piszczek. And I hope I have that pronounced correctly. And in reading on the Tangle Patterns link where I found this, and this is a new Tangle, by the way, uh, that is how it is to be pronounced. So, do take a look at that link while I'm mentioning it, uh, so that way you can see Ryll from Esther's hand as well as her sample, which gives really great ideas on ways to use it. Um, it's always neat to look at that, and that's why I like to include it, and why I call it For More Inspiration. And then you can also read, some of the story behind the tangle and all of that. And while you're there, if you have not subscribed to Tangle Patterns, I want to give CZT Linda Farmer a plug, um, because her site is fantastic. It's really one of only a few that I know of that are repositories for tangles. And then while you're at it, if you haven't subscribed to Zentangle's newsletter, I would highly recommend that as well, so that way you'll get official news from Zentangle, and when they put out new tangles, it's always good. And they do, sometimes video series as well. They call them project packs, and so there's you could buy the project pack, which has all of the tools that you would need, or you can do without. You can watch the videos, and then you can usually order it later. So, all right, so let's get into Ryll. This is a neat tangle, and it was funny because I was like, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, how neat. Let's go ahead and do that. Every once in a while I do one, when it comes out like that. But yeah, this is cool. All right, it starts off with two sets of double lines. I'm going to do this one diagonal. So, do one line and then sort of aura the other one. It's like, well, I did, but, how it comes out in the end. It's almost a don't stop focusing. Or, no, continue to focus even as you get to the end. Don't let anything distract you. This is me talking to me. All right. So once you have your, these rails down, then we're going to do some straight lines, and I'm just lining this up so that way I can work better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the center, and then I like to work out either side. And so you get to decide how thick, or how close together or far apart you want these to be. It's something for sure that you could have some fun with. And then I'm going off of the page here because that's what I like to do. And then I like, and then I will usually turn the tile like this, just so that way my hand and everything is not in the way. Because if I was doing here, it just, your hand gets in the way of being able to see. And when you're drawing, it's a good idea to be able to see. All right. And this one, there is a bit of fill-in. So if if you enjoy using a thicker nib pen, like I don't have handy, the graphic one. Oh, there it is. You might want to have that handy. We have just a little bit of fill-in, as you could see from the cover photo. So the next step is we're going to put some curve lines in. Actually, I'm going to do it upside down because I like doing the curve line this way. When I was doing, I think the step, but I was doing it this way, and I was like, no, let's. Well, let me tell you why. And this is kind of a, well, I guess it's a bit of Zentangle philosophy, if you will. So we want to be comfortable. So you plant your hand down the heel of your hand, and then you get this natural curve. And what's nice is when you use that, then you have a little bit more consistency with with the curve. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so and just pick a place to start. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a curved line over two sections, and then skip. So you're going to have a space, and for whatever reason, sometimes I like to draw them this way. Sometimes I, from well, because of the angle, bottom to top, but then sometimes, like right now, for whatever reason, and it just depends, I like to draw them from top to bottom. All right. Then when you fill in, this is when, if you need to, you can play with, if you need to, adjust. Let's see, like this one got nice and high, so I'm gonna, there we go, just gonna kind of even that out. Although right now I'm thinking, maybe that's not a great idea, because then it could turn into, well, if okay, in the comments you'll have to tell me if you identify with this or not. Like when I was a kid and we'd have cereal, and it's like, oh well, I've run out of milk, so I need to have a little bit more milk for the cereal I have left. And then when and then it flips the other ways. Oh well, gosh, I need to have a little bit more cereal because I've run out of cereal and I have milk left here. I can't, it's like we can't have that. So it's like this is like, oh well, I can, oh, let me make this one higher. Oh, let me make the next one higher, and then pretty soon it's all the way at the end. So just be careful with the course correction. Sometimes we can go a little bit crazy. We don't want to go crazy. All right. These are a little bit high from what I had been doing, and just because. So you can do them however you want. You see it in the step out. Like, I wouldn't necessarily have this high of a, well, and since here we go. Let's make them match a little bit. Because that's the thing. Whatever happens, happens. And just, be consistent with it. And it's good. And actually, this one, too, since it's on the little edge, I'll make all of mine kind of creep up that line a little bit. Okay. Then, turn in the tile again. So where you have these gaps, on the opposite side, you're going to do another curved line. And then if you're doing like I have done, where you've gone off the side and you can't see, you just need to remember, it's like, oh well, I'll have two here, so I'm not going to be able to fit one there. So skipping two, it's easier when you can see the top. And I'm going to do similarly, where I've kind of traced up that the line a little bit. Again, just for consistency, because that's, it's one of the neat things about Zentangle is that there's no such thing as a mistake. But when you do something that you're like, whoa, again, just be consistent with it, and you never know, you might end up with a whole new tangle, because that's happened. All right, and then it's almost kind of the little bit of life lesson that we get from the no mistakes philosophy of Zentangle. And I've caught myself with doing this also. It's like something just in life that happens. It's like, well, let's see, what can we do to make that better? And then all of a sudden it's like, gosh, that's just like Zentangle. Huh, interesting. So fun. All right, so once you have those done, then we're going to just, in these curve lines that we've just done, these C curve lines, right up the middle, in that space, we're going to draw another line. And then 1, 2, and then here, so here I'm going to just, because there would be a bump down here, so I will at least get that line. 1, 2, this 1, 2. All right. Okay. And then we have shading. All right. And I like how she did this. And let's see. Actually, in one of, looking at Esther's, the sample, she has one where she only did shading on the rails, but she did like, made these smaller and did like 3 of them stacked. So you could use this as a fill-in, but I really like the effect of this in the way it was shaded. So I'm just going to pick a place, and I'm going to put, and on this, well, it is shading, but I'm essentially putting graphite in, and we're going to make it solid. Although I think I'm going to go a little darker on the center there. Actually, that's what I could do. Well, I've already started. you could just do, I'll do it on these ones. I can always add more graphite if need be. So I'm just going to go on that center line, and we'll fill in the rest with the graphite, because that's a neat way to add shading. If you want to kind of add the shading as well as fill in at the same time. Let's see, and it would be this one. All right, let's get a tortillon, and let's do these first. So I'm just going to bring out the graphite all the way in that section. And see, this way I don't accidentally put too much graphite in. So I get the nice gradient to the end, right? And then you can bring it out as much as you want. But it kind of serves a couple purposes. Because I was wanting to have the have this center line. Ooh, and I gotta get real. Let's see, where's my littler one? Ah, there you are. I was wanting to have it darker towards the, looking at the bumps, the curve lines. I was wanting to have it be darker at that center line. And like I said, this is going to take care, hopefully, of both. This one, maybe not so much. And then that one, of course, for sure not, because I put graphite in the whole thing. But that's up to you. If you just want to make it solid and not worry about having it darker at the center, you could do that. That's where my brain started. I hate it when I get a thought, mid doing something. It makes it harder to be consistent, especially when you don't put an eraser in your kit and me, subscribe to not using one. So we'll go a little bit darker on the edge, and then, and see, and I'm looking at the camera. And it is creating that neat effect. And so I'm just going to add a little bit here just because. Oh, no. Yeah. Too late. It all ends up good. Just smooth this out a little bit. I kind of think having it darker, and actually it's a lot lighter on the screen than it is here in person. But what's neat is, when you're looking at the round parts, it looks like it's, it kind of has a look of, that it sinks down a little bit. And in hers, let me turn. Let's see what it does as you turn it. And I don't know that it matters, but sometimes when I turn it, it's like, oh, look it makes a little bit different look depending on which way you look at it. And it's one of those things where I think I have to stop looking at it for a minute, and I've shut my eyes. I'm looking at it again. Yep, still neat. Okay, so maybe not having it still looks neat, but having maybe the darker edge out to the side and not in the center. I don't know. It's one of those things that you can play with. And there are some other as you look at her and actually I'm gonna work just to make it even. As you look at Esther's sample there's a couple different ways that she has shaded it. So you can take a peek and have fun playing with it. So neat tangle. It's nice to have some of these things that have a little bit more contrast and are architectural. That's probably the word. I think I was calling it industrial for I like the word architectural. Because it's neat that if you added organics to it or other tangles, sometimes it's nice to have something like this in your tangle toolbox. So if you enjoyed the video, would love to have a thumbs up or a like. Feel free to share it out. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. Feel free to put comments in as well. And in the description section, as I mentioned, are links to the step out. I do a version myself, and then I always link to the place I found it at. So you will see that. That's the For More Inspiration link. And then below that, ways to connect with me if you wish to. Just so you know, I do classes twice a week. Most weeks it's twice a week. There's a couple, depending on how many Tuesdays and Thursdays there are, or actually knows how many Tuesdays. I have at least 1 week that I don't do a class on a Tuesday, but a lot of them are free. Some are paid. I have really just 2 of them are paid, and thank you to all those that come to the classes that are paid, or and especially. Sorry, snort. That was a snorty laugh. I really, really appreciate the those that are part of the Tangle Addicts membership club. Their information is on my website on that, and it's basically a subscription, and you get all access, and we have a lot of fun. So if you come take a free class first, see if you like it. If you like my style, it's a bit different, and but if you like it and think I'll take more classes, then it might be worth it for you to take a look at that subscription. So with that, thanks so much for watching. And now as I'm looking back at the screen, I'm seeing it look more curvy in there. Neat. All right, with that, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.